Situation make you frown. Don't let the hard times get the best of you. Hold your head up and walk on through. I know it's hard to see a way. The devil's throwing darkness all in your way. Don't run your top, stay in and fight. Yasha will be there. He's the way, the truth, and the light.
Everything's gonna be alright.
He told me,
Be alright.
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 Everything's
gonna be alright.
He told me,
Be alright.
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 Don't let your problems get you down. Don't let the situation make you frown. Don't let you hold your head up and walk on through. I know it's hard to see your way. The devil's throwing darkness all in your way. Don't blow your top, stay in and fight. Yasha will be there in the way, the truth, and the light.
Everything's gonna be alright.
He told me,
Be alright.
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 Everything's
gonna be alright.
He told me,
Be alright.
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 Ooh, the burdens you face, all your fears He will erase, all the troubles you go through. He told me to tell you it's gonna be alright.
Gonna be alright.
It's gonna be alright.
Gonna be alright.
It's gonna be alright.
Be alright.
It's gonna be alright.
Gonna be alright.
It's gonna be alright.
Be alright.
It's gonna be alright.
Gonna be alright.
It's gonna be alright.
Be alright.
It's gonna be alright.
Be alright.
Alright, alright.
Alright. Alright.
Alright, alright.
Alright. Alright.
Alright, alright.
Alright. Alright.
Alright, alright.
Alright. Alright.
And everything will.
Be alright.
He told me.
Be alright.
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 Everything.
Everything's gonna be alright.
He told me.
Be alright.
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 Ooh, believe when I say trouble don't last always. Join in with me, and soon you will see it's gonna be alright.
Gonna be alright.
It's gonna be alright.
Gonna be alright.
It's gonna be alright.
Be alright.
It's gonna be alright.
Gonna be alright.
It's gonna be alright.
Be alright.
It's gonna be alright.
Gonna be alright.
It's gonna be alright.
Be alright.
It's gonna be alright.
Be alright.
Alright, alright.
Alright. Alright.
Alright, alright.
Alright. Alright.
Alright, alright.
Alright. Alright.
Alright, alright.
Alright. Alright.
And everything will.
Be alright.
He told me.
Be alright.
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 All in all,
Everything's
I
gonna be alright.
Asher.
Be alright.
I
Alright.
everything.
Everything's gonna be alright.
He told me.
Be alright.
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 Everything.
Everything's gonna be alright.
He told me.
Be alright.
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 Everything.
Everything's gonna be alright.
He told me.
Be alright.
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 Spiritually.
Everything's gonna be alright.
He told me.
Be alright.
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 Eternally.
Everything's
I
gonna be alright.
Asher.
Be alright.
I
Alright.
everything.
Everything's gonna be alright.
He told me.
Be alright.
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 All in all,
Everything's
I
gonna be alright.
Asher.
Be alright. Alright.
Good evening. Our first speaker for this evening will be Dr. Roger Gentry.
Good evening. Yes, I'm a little bit shocked. I'm like, Yashua, what am I going to say? Okay. As the moderator said, this is a school of the highest learning. It's biblically based. We use the Bible, but we also use the dictionary and the internet and word thesaurus, because sometimes you want the alternate meaning of a word. So I guess what I'll start with is, so what I'm standing in front of, this isn't just some background, green screen, whatever you want to call it. This is your Bible in pictorial form, and that is the, I'll speak. I know, I think the director wants you to turn the camera one way or another or something. Anyway, this is the Bible in pictorial form, and I want to get to Matthew in a minute. I'm not a bibliomaniac. The founder, they used to say that he was, and the founder of this teaching, I'll say it that way, is Dr. Henry C. Kinley, Henry Clifford Kinley. And he had this vision in 1931. And anyway, so this is the Bible in pictorial form, and Dr. Kinley had the vision. And I'll go ahead and say this before I get into the charts. One of the things that he says is, he said about the vision and the things that he taught was, all of this is, okay, make me prove it until you're satisfied. And I'm not the kind of person that I used to be in the past. They used to call me a perfectionist. It's like this had to be just to the jot and the tittle. But I remember those things. But what I see of the vision of what Dr. Kinley had, one of the things that you do, or that I did when I was in the, like in engineering and design and those discipline type of fields. Dr. Welsh was in a discipline type of a field or a career. But when I come to this class and you learn that there is a divine tabernacle pattern which was given to Moses on top of Mount Sinai, and it's as simple as 1, 2, 3. And I think most of my life, when I had thoughts about how come things always come in threes. I'm speaking for myself, and this is something that this class, this vision, this teaching gave to me, is how come things always come in threes? It's because everything is following the divine tabernacle pattern. If it isn't by threes, maybe it's by 9, because there's 3 vessels in the court round about, and then there's 3 vessels in the holy place. And yes, I only see 1, but this is actually 3, because you have 2 archangels that were beaten work of gold to the mercy seat. So this is I think the last time I was on the floor, I was talking about how there was a lubricant that we used to use when I was, let's say, a teenager. It was called 3-in-1 oil. And I need to go back and read the history on that. But anyway, things come in threes. But in this case, 3, 6, 9. So there's a principle of a 9. There's a principle of a 3. This is a tabernacle pattern, and it's got 7 steps. So there's another principle that you can come up with. So there's divine numerology that's going on with the different aspects of the tabernacle pattern, and its function. So I wanted to mention that. And then the other thing is, I had said about how this was given to Moses up on top of Mount Sinai. Now, if you want to go back to, is it Exodus 19? Let's go back to Exodus 19 and pick up a little part of that story, because one of the things about entertainment is not necessarily truthful. It's entertainment. It's there to make you laugh, to make you cry. It's not necessarily there to make you think, which would be a documentary would want to do that. But in this particular case, with Moses on top of Mount Sinai and the journey of the children of Israel, all of the things that you've been taught through the media is wrong. I'm not saying the characters are wrong, but what they did is incorrect. So pick that part of the story up.
Exodus 19:1. In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt. Pause.
Okay, so there's a story. Again, there's a principle of threes going on. So there's the land of Egypt, which is a dark land. That's why this chart is dark, except for the illustrations here on the bottom. So Egypt means dark land. So this is one part. The Red Sea is a veil. The wilderness is the center portion, or the holy place. And then here's another veil, or a crossing of the River Jordan, and then you go into Canaan land. So this is threefold about the journey of the children of Israel, and there's different aspects, so you can spin off. And let's talk about Moses and Joshua and the 70 elders, and Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu. But get Moses up on the mount the first time. And again, he made 3 principal or major trips up on the mount.
So you want to stop there?
Well, yeah, I just wanted a little taste of it.
28:9-10 or 24:9-10 of Exodus.
Okay, let's go to there.
Exodus 24:8-9 or 9:10. Then went up Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and the 70 elders of Israel.
Okay.
And they saw the Elohim of Israel.
And they saw the Elohim of Israel.
And there was under his feet as it were a paved work of a sapphire stone, and as it were the body of heaven in its clearness. And upon the nobles of the children of Israel he laid not his hand.
Right.
Also,
Go ahead.
Also they saw Elohim and did eat and drink.
Okay, that's good right there. They partook in a vision. Here's Elohim up on top of the mount. So 74 individuals saw this vision. Then get Moses on up there by himself.
And Yahweh said unto Moses, let me see. This 15th verse. And Moses went up into the mount, and a cloud covered it, the mount.
Okay.
And the cloud covered it 6 days, and the 7th day he called unto Moses out of the midst of the cloud. And the sight of the glory of Yahweh was like a devouring fire on the top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel. And Moses went into the midst of the cloud, and he gat him up into the mount, and Moses went in the mount for 40 days and 40 nights.
Okay. So Moses is pretty bold, you know, he's going to just walk right on up into the fire. But he knew something that normal man did not know about. Okay, was there more there? Okay. But that would be Moses's, that's his second principal trip, because the first principal trip, he was, they were told to wash up and clean up. And that was 40 days up, 40 days down, then 40 days on the second trip, and then 40 days down. And then the third trip was another 40 days, is that correct? Yeah. Okay. But that, you know, that's one of the things, you know, I know I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but I didn't know that that's how that journey went, or that's how that experience that Moses had, that's how that went. But this vision that Dr. Kinley had, and then he had this illustrated and painted on these charts. You know, these are the pictures to go with the words that are in the book. You know, which is, to me, is really helpful. I mean, I always did like show and tell in school, so that's just, you know, for me personally. So I wanted to make a mention of that. But Dr. Kinley had these charts not as a colorful decoration, you know, to hang around a room, but he had that vision in 1931. And, you know, different aspects of the vision were brought out on each chart. You know, this one over here is mainly about, you know, the relationship between the tabernacle. Well, actually, the chart is man made in the image of Elohim by the pattern of the tabernacle. So you mean I'm made in the image of Elohim, which improperly or incorrectly we would have said, you know, people will say, well, I'm made in the image of God. No, first of all, you got to get the name correct, or the title correct, and it's Elohim. So you're made in his image. Well, how is that? Well, there's a tabernacle pattern, and it's got 3 sections. And then there's 3 vessels in each section. Just like you have a head region, you have a chest region, you have an abdominal region. So 1, 2, 3 again. But wait a minute, did I forget the arms and legs? No, I didn't forget the arms and legs, because let's see, there's an upper arm, a lower arm, and a hand. So that looks like 3 to me. So that's the right arm. And then over here on the left arm, I can do that again. Then I can do that again with the legs, the upper thigh. I wanted to call it femur. Yeah. So the femur, then the lower leg, and your foot. So 3, 6, 9, 12. You know, so you got 12 appendages around your tabernacle, because do we have a dictionary? What is it? Temporary dwelling place for the soul, which is one of the definitions of tabernacle. And I didn't know that before, because out and about in the world, folks are more than willing to take the building on the corner and they call it the tabernacle of this, that, and the other, which actually that's what they should call it. This is the tabernacle of this, that, and the other, you know, because they don't know what they're doing. But anyway, definition for tabernacle. Okay, but was it Google or something like that? I mean, yeah, but speaking for myself, I always felt like, well, this class helps to refine the things that you thought you knew, because what you're trying to do is get a knowledge and an understanding of Yahweh as he really is and actually exists. And while you're doing that, you're going to get a knowledge of yourself. You're going to find out that you're a walk and talk and tabernacle. So here's this tabernacle, and then here's you. And then you want to break it down a little bit more. We can use this. We can lay the human body on a tabernacle, and we can call these the vessels. Okay, do you have the definition?
Tabernacle. This is out of the Webster New World Dictionary, Third College Edition. Property of the U.S. government. Tabernacle. Definition number 1. It says the Jewish tabernacle, and it says tent of meeting, tent, and then it says dwelling place. 2, the human body, considered as the dwelling place of the soul.
There you go. The thing is, what I'm surprised at, you say, how did it start out? The Jewish tabernacle? So,
Yeah.
well, what if this tabernacle or Yahweh had presented himself to the Japanese? Does that make it a Japanese tabernacle?
No.
Or if it had been presented to someone to the Chinese, to the Hawaiians, so does that make it Hawaiian, a Chinese, a Japanese? No, it's just because that's where the event happened. So when you change your viewpoint of what's really going on, it gives you a better understanding, so you begin to get a better and a greater knowledge and an understanding of the events that are have been told or you've been able to read biblically, and you get a better understanding of Yahweh Elohim as he really is and actually exists. But there's something else inside here. That was one thing that I was, I guess, amazed. I mean, it's not like there's 3 Rogers here. I'm one, but body, soul, and spirit. So this is a tabernacle. It's a vessel, or what is that about the pot maker? You can make a clay pot. How's it? You spin it on the thing, and you can form the clay. I thought that was a scripture. The potter and the clay. And I bring that up because even though there are people still making clay pots, that was one of the early forms of a container. So this flesh and blood container has spirit and soul in it, in this body, this container. So it's just listening to the different ministers and the different people from around the world who have a greater or better knowledge and understanding of the things of this vision has helped me to understand better how Yahweh Elohim is and actually exists. Okay, did you have a...
This is one of them. It might not be the one you want,
Okay.
but I'll try it.
We'll just go there for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's Isaiah 64:8. But now, O Yahweh, thou art our Father. We are the clay, and thou our potter, and we all are the work of thy hand. That's not the one you want?
No, that's good. But yeah, we've been formed as. That was the other thing about this class, is that we are formed in His image. Well, you have the spermatic fluid, and then it goes through a, can I say, metamorphosis? Then it begins to grow into a fetus. But it's just the mathematics of that are related to this vision. I mean, I think about how there's got to be a multiplication before there's a division, and then with the division, then the baby begins to be formed. Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's like, what I'm saying is the ordering of things as we learned them in school. So you learn your addition and your subtraction, you learn your multiplication, and you learn your division. But coming into these classes, I learned, there's something different that's going on. There's a reason why there's that division. Did I say that right? Division and then multiplication, because the cells have to multiply in order for a child to grow in the 40 weeks and be born. So anyway, I had asked for Matthew 24, 1 through 25. There was a part in there I wanted to bring out. Go ahead and start reading.
24 and 1.
Yes, please.
Matthew 24 and 1. Whoops. Yeah. And Joshua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple. And Joshua said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down.
Okay, skip down to 9, please.
9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you.
Pause. Okay. Another thing about this class, I mean, one of those things you learned in school. So as you're reading through, and this is to help you with your comprehension. So you're reading a story, you're reading a book. So you want to keep in mind who, what, when, where, why, and how. So then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted. Deliver who? Deliver who? Deliver Joshua. So that's the who in that part of the story. So what I'm saying is, as you're reading, if you keep, well, for me, if keeping those things in mind, it's okay, who's, like we often will say, well, we're reading the scripture and it's like, well, who's talking? You know, is it Paul or is it John the Baptist or whatever? So continue reading.
Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
Okay, who again, who is going to be hated? For my name's sake. For Joshua's name's sake. But who's the who before that? The who before that would be anyone who is a Joshuan, yeah, or the disciples. Okay, continue.
10th verse. And then shall many be offended.
Okay, pause. Who's going to be offended? Non-believers, devils, demons. Continue.
And shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many.
Pause. So many false prophets shall arise. And that part of the scripture right there, that's been repeated in other ways throughout the scriptures about false prophets and false prophets rising. You know, I was thinking earlier how tonight. So I'm standing up here singing, and I was thinking about the classroom, and I says, no, this is not a church. You know, the way, I mean, we have it laid out so that you can get a real good visual view of the charts that Dr. Kinley had painted up. But I just, it's like I had a flashback. No, but I just was thinking how in a church, I'll go over here. So in a church, Rev would be over here behind his podium. And the podium and that area down where he is at. So I'm just saying, this is from my experience. So that's Rev or Pastor or whoever, whatever you want to call him, and he's down here in the pulpit. And they got all of these runways, you know, so the folks can come rolling down and see Rev in the pulpit. You know, he's pulling them into the pit with false teaching. So I don't know why I had that flashback, but it just. Continue reading just a little bit further.
12th verse. And because apostasy shall abound, the love of many shall grow cold.
Okay, and apostasy again is, the definition is a falling away. Yeah, thank you. Okay, and continue, read one more verse.
But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
Okay, and one more time, who, what, when, where, why, and how. In this case, I'm going to ask who again, one more time. He that shall endure. So anyone that's a believer in Yahshua Messiah or a Yahshuan, as often comes up. So anyway, I just want to say all praises to Yahshua. I'm glad I have been able to learn something in the time that I've been a part of this teaching. And praise Yahshua, and I hope somebody got something out of that. Hallelujah.
Our next speaker will be Dr. Danielle Anwar.
Thank you. Good evening, class. Can I have Amos 8 and 11? That's for some reason popping into my head.
Is your mic pointed out?
Is it okay? Or no? Okay.
Amos 8 and 11.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor of thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh.
So I enjoyed the words of the previous speaker, and this is what Yahshua was putting on my mind tonight, is that, and he was hitting right on something that's in my head, so I'm going to go back to something you were saying, Roger, Dr. Gentry, that you were right, of course, in my mind as usual. But Yahshua's got that there's a famine in the land. Now, I've been watching a series on Netflix, which I don't like Netflix, but I watch it. It's like a car accident. Just can't help it. And they're going through Jeffrey Dahmer, and not everything that they say is exactly true, but Jeffrey Dahmer was a serial killer back in like the 70s, 1978 was like his first murder that he committed. And he committed murders, I think, until about 1991, about 13 years or something like that. And while I'm watching it, I'm looking for both mysteries. Now, Jeffrey Dahmer, and this has a point. I'm not just talking about Jeffrey Dahmer. There's a point to it. When I listen to him, I am not angry with him. I am very forgiving of him. And the reason why I'm very forgiving of Jeffrey Dahmer is because he tells the truth about everything that he did, even though it's terrible. Like, he was homosexual, he killed men, he'd drug them, he'd kill them, he'd eat them so that he could be a part, like he could feel their presence with him. So he was a very satanic person, but at the same time, he was very charming. And so I'm watching this to see how Satan works. How does this mystery of iniquity deceive and attract and lure? So when you look at him, you see absolutely he had to lie to get his victims, because he couldn't just say, I'm Jeffrey Dahmer, I'm going to murder you. No one would go with him. So he would go to these bathhouses and he would attract people and go to bars. And men, it was men, and it was usually men that they call minorities. I don't really like that term because people of color are not minor. They're actually major all over the earth, but that's just the world that we live in. But he would attract people of color mostly, and he would kill them, okay? So I'm watching this. He also, it looks like, was some type of Satanist. So he had some type of like an altar to Satan, okay? So that was one of the things that was going on with him. And so I saw a lot of this within him, but at the same time, like I said, he was likable, which makes me, of course, go to this plate here with Lucifer. So deceptive, so charming, Eve did not know she was lured by that satanic mystery, okay? So you have this gentleman, and he's absolutely terrible, but at the same time, he tells the truth about everything he did. He took full responsibility. He said he deserved the death penalty. Now, in listening to that, I was also listening to the other mystery that was happening at the same time, and there were two things that I really caught: how Yahshua works. Now, one of the victims, I believe his name was Tracy Edwards, he was lured by Jeffrey Dahmer into his apartment, and he kept saying, I was listening to God. Now, I know that he just doesn't know the name yet, or at the time he didn't know the name. He was listening to this mystery, the mystery of righteousness. And that's how he escaped. And he kept saying, I was listening to God to see if it was my time to make a move to run, okay? And he escaped the devil. Yahweh always makes a way out. And that's what this chart is. And I've also seen it in my own life. I remember I was about to be in a situation. There's actually two situations that come to mind. One situation that I was in, the house got shot up. Yahshua made it so that I didn't have the desire to go over there that day, and I had been there like every day that week. So I saw him work in my own life. And then there was another situation where I was in a car, and I had to play a role in order to live. And for me, if anybody knows me, I don't play roles. I'm very straight up. I talk to people straight up, you know? So for me, I was listening to Yahshua, and he said, Danielle, don't be your aggressive self. Be soft. Just entertain this person. And so I did what Yahshua said, and again, I survived. But in in the movie, Jeffrey Dahmer, there was also a situation where Yahshua made Jeffrey Dahmer's grandmother stay in the living room so that Jeffrey Dahmer did not kill this individual. So again, like I said, I was watching the two mysteries, and that's always what I'm doing when I'm watching anything or taking what Dr. Gentry was talking about, entertainment, which you have to watch what's entering. Notice the key word in entertainment is enter. You know, what are you allowing to enter into your temple, okay? So, you know, nothing new for me. I'm always watching the mysteries. But it's very interesting to watch evil and how it works. And I have been, like I said, researching it, studying it, just to understand more about, you know, what is the difference between this darkness and this light? What are the actual details of it? But I'm going to go back to what Roger said, because that's what Yahweh has on my mind too. Go to Exodus 19:1. Now, Dr. Roger Gentry was talking about Dr. Henry Clifford Kinley and how he had a vision in 1931. and how he said, don't believe me, but make me prove it until you are satisfied. And we've all been satisfied. That's why we keep coming back to these classes. Go ahead and get Exodus 19:1.
Exodus 19:1. In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they unto the wilderness of Sinai.
Okay, so Dr. Marta Cerna on Sunday, she went through Joseph and she went through Moses, and she talked about how they escaped out of Egypt, okay? So after Yahweh Elohim, because that's really what is happening here, is he who exists, is almighty, is having a conversation. and I'm trying to think of the word. I'm always struggling with words. He's having a demonstration between good and evil down here with Pharaoh. And Yahweh, who is all-knowing, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, he is saying exactly what Pharaoh will do. He's communicating that information to Moses, and then it happens exactly how Yahweh says it's going to happen. And it was funny that she had that read too, because I was just reading it before I came to class, listening to it. So anyway, so there's a demonstration between good and evil, and the light always prevails, okay? So after they go through these 10 devastating plagues, Yahweh brings these children of Israel out of this darkness, or this land that has been absolutely demolished. The water has turned to blood. There were frogs everywhere, that had, dried up, shriveled up by then. Who knows how long this time period took place, this struggle between good and evil. And it really wasn't a struggle for Yahweh, but he had to demonstrate who he was. Now, we don't just look at this story and leave it on the chart. This story is also current day, right now. That's how I look at life. I don't look at it like it's happened a long time ago. We are in Egypt now. Now, some of us remain in darkness, but a lot of us have learned how to tune in to the way, the truth, and the life, which is Yahshua, which is that light that shines in this darkness. So these children of Israel end up coming up out of darkness. Yahweh's son ends up coming up out of the house, Yahweh calls it, of bondage. And they end up coming out to the wilderness of Sinai, where Moses has been for the last 40 years. Now, Moses is called up to the top of this mountain. That's where she's reading. And he is being given instructions by Yahshua, who is Yahweh Elohim. And Yahweh Elohim is telling him, Moses, in 3 days, on June the 3rd, I'm going to speak this law from the mount. And I grew up in the IDMR, and I remember, people always saying, the law is out. The law is out. And at the time, I would just repeat those words without any understanding. And yes, this law was fulfilled. But this law, to me, it's not out completely. I just don't like the way it's phrased, I guess. The more I think about it as I get older and I grow in grace and Yahshua, there is a new law. There's a law, but it is written in the heart or in the mind. It's not as if Yahweh does not have any order or law. There's law, but he's teaching it to you as you go through these experiences in this land of darkness or Egypt. There is a law, but it's a spiritual law. And it's not something that you take sacrifices out and go to the high priest and he sacrifices. But there is something that Yahweh's teaching you in the heart and the mind. And again, when I was watching the movie, I got to see that demonstrated by somebody. He said, God told me not to make a move yet. That's a law. Either you follow the law and you live, or you don't follow the law and you die. Okay? Those are the laws, okay? It's not, like it was back here where, you have to get circumcised on the 8th day. But there are instructions, and he is teaching his people. So 3rd month, 3rd day, which is April, May, June, is the 3rd month, the same day. Yahweh Elohim is talking to Moses. He's communicating to him that he is to speak, or Yahweh's going to speak down the law in 3 days. And he's giving these people instructions that they are to wash or clean themselves for 3 days. They are not to come out at their wives. They are to be clean before Yahweh speaks down this mount. But go ahead and read it, because Yahweh says it way better than I will ever. Start from where you were about the 3rd day. Just start it again.
In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt,
June.
the same day they came into the wilderness of Sinai.
June 3rd, they come into the wilderness of Sinai. Read on.
For they were departed from Rephidim.
So they were departed from Rephidim. Okay, read on.
And were come to the desert of Sinai.
So they came to the desert or the wilderness of Sinai. This was all pre-planned, foreknown, preordained from Yahweh Elohim from back here. Everything he does is pre-planned. Everything. And I know that people can't wrap their heads around that, but that, to me, that's who our Creator is. He knows everything. What does omniscient mean? What is omnipresent, omnipotent? What is it about? He has to know everything. That's how he can get you out of every situation that there is. Okay? Read on.
And had pitched in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount.
So they pitched in the wilderness, and they camped before Mount Sinai. Read on.
And Moses went up unto Elohim, and Yahweh called unto
So
him.
Moses goes up into the mount, and Yahweh calls unto him. Read on.
Out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of
Now,
Jacob.
he's telling them, this is what you're going to say unto the house of Israel, or the house of Jacob. Read on.
And tell the children of Israel, ye shall, wait a minute, ye have seen what I done unto the Egyptians.
Now Yahweh's trying to let them know, you saw what I did unto the Egyptians, because at this point, these people still don't really completely have Yahweh ingrained into their mind. They're still about to worship this golden calf. They're still coming from this land here. They don't know what they don't know at this point. Okay? So Yahweh's going to teach them, just like he's teaching us. Read on.
And how I bear you on eagle's wings.
Now, he said he bore them on eagle's wings. Notice the word, that eagle, right? Eagle, lion, oxen, him. He bore them on eagle's wings. Read on.
And brought you unto myself.
And he brought you, because look, we had slavery in the United States, okay? We had slavery, whatever, okay? It was a big deal. There's no way that Harriet Tubman was going to go to the president at that point and say, let all the black people go. It's not going to happen like that. You see what I'm saying? It has to be pre-planned from Yahweh Elohim. Harriet Tubman had to sneak people through the Underground Railroad. This has to be, these Egyptians were over them. And it even talks about it with Joseph, how it was an abomination to eat with the Hebrews, to the Egyptians. You have the same kind of situation back here as you had in this country here. One was on top, the Egyptians, one was on bottom, the Hebrews. But the Hebrews were the more powerful out of the two, only because Yahweh Elohim made them his people. Read on.
5th verse. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed.
Now, listen to what he says, because this is true now. Yahweh does not change. Read it again.
Now therefore, If you will obey my voice
If
indeed,
you will obey my voice, be obedient. Read on.
and keep my covenant,
And keep my covenant. What's the covenant now? The new covenant or the New Testament is written in the heart or mind. You hear what he says and you listen to it and then you do it. Read on.
then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people.
Gonna be a peculiar treasure above all people. Read on.
For all the earth is mine.
All the earth is Yahweh Elohim's. Read on.
And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests,
Now you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests. Read on.
and holy nation.
And a holy nation.
These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. And Moses came and called for the elders of the people, and laid before their faces all these words which Yahweh commanded
So
him.
Moses calls the elders and he tells them everything that Yahweh Elohim has said. Now keep reading because this is the first major trip into the mount. Go ahead.
And all the people answered and said, all that Yahweh has spoken we will do.
Now this is what they said. It's not what happened, but they said, all that Yahweh said will we do. So it was a marriage between Yahweh and the people. Okay, read on.
And Moses returned the words of the people unto Yahweh.
So then Moses returns the word of the people back to Yahweh. Okay, read on.
And Yahweh said unto Moses, Lo, I come unto thee in a thick cloud,
He said, lo, I come to you in a thick cloud. Read on.
that the people may hear when I speak with thee, and believe thee forever.
Right, read on.
And Moses told the words of the people unto Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto Moses, Go unto the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes.
So, sanctify the people, set them apart today and tomorrow. Let them wash their clothes. What else?
And be ready against the third day.
So be ready for June 6th. June 6th is a significant day. It's the day Dr. Kinley had the vision. It's the day that the Holy Spirit was poured out on the day of Pentecost. It's the day that this law is being spoken down. There's other events in time that have happened on this specific day. June 3rd month, 6th day is where Yahweh is going to speak the law into the hearts and minds of his people. It's been a buildup. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, or Israel. Now we're at the children of Israel finally coming to this day. Read on.
For the third day Yahweh will come down in the sight of all the people
So
on Mount
Yahweh
Sinai.
is going to come down from this pure spirit state. He's going to come down. Read on.
And thou shalt set bounds.
Go read it again. He's going to come down.
For the third day Yahweh will come down in the sight of all the people
In the
upon
sight
Mount Sinai.
of all the people on Mount Sinai. Read on.
And thou shalt set bounds unto the people round
So you're
about,
going to set bounds around this mount. Read on.
saying, Take heed to yourselves, that ye go not up into the mount, or touch the border of it.
Don't go up in the mount. Don't even touch the mount. Why not?
Whosoever touches the mount shall surely be put to death.
If you touch it, you're going to die. This is holy here. He's doing something with this mount. This mount is a type and shadow. Remember the Ark of the Covenant. Remember the two people who tried to stop it from falling. They died. You don't touch this. Remember this state here. You can't understand it. You don't touch it. Remember the tree. You don't touch it. He's setting up a principle that's going to follow all the way down. Remember Joshua when he rose, don't touch me. Okay? So there's a reason why he's doing that. He doesn't need their help. You don't help Yahweh. You want to, but don't help him unless he tells you to help. Okay? Read on.
13th verse. There shall not a hand touch it, but he shall surely be stoned or shot through.
You're going to be stoned or shot through. Read on.
Whether it be a beast or man,
Whether it be a beast or a man, read on.
it shall not live.
It shall not live.
When
Don't
the trumpet
touch it.
sounded long, they shall come up to the mount.
They shall come up to the mount. Is there anything else there? Where are you?
14th verse. And Moses went down to the mount.
And Moses went down. And that's it?
No, there's more.
Okay, go ahead, read it.
And 14th verse. And Moses went down from the mount unto the people and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes.
Okay, so now he's doing what Yahweh Elohim had instructed. And it wasn't Moses coming up with this. It was definite and clear, distinct instructions or a law, which we hate the word L-A-W. People hate a law. I'm going to tell you, I love a law when it comes from Yahweh. I hate a law from man because man doesn't have all the facts. They never have the facts. And they tell you what they think is right. But Yahweh Elohim, see, he knows what's right. Okay? So go ahead and get the next one, which is Exodus 24:1, because that was the first trip of Moses. There was 3 major trips, I should say, into the mount. Okay? So that was the first one. Let's do the second one.
Exodus 24:1.
Yeah.
And he said unto Moses, Come up unto Yahweh, thou
Now,
Aaron.
Yahweh Elohim, who really is Yahshua. Yahshua's talking to Moses. They're having conversations face to face as a man speaks to his friend. So Yahshua is instructing Moses. Read it, 24:1.
And he said unto Moses,
Now he says unto Moses, read on.
Come up unto Yahweh,
He said, come up unto Yahweh. Read on.
thou and Aaron,
Thou,
Nadab,
Moses, and Aaron. Aaron is Moses' brother, as we know. He's the first high priest.
Nahab
And he's
and Abihu.
way too old to be a priest. Okay? And notice, too, because we're going to probably be talking about this weekend, Aaron is a priest. He's too old. He's 80, which, Yahweh works in his own way. Okay? He's too old, according to the instructions that we get later, but it's okay because this is how Yahweh has decided to do it. Now, remember, this Roman Catholic Church, the way they do it, the men cannot marry, okay? So here, this man here is married. Aaron is married, and he's the first priest. Now, the reason why the Roman Catholic Church gets themselves in trouble so much is because they make these stupid rules, and they put them on themselves, telling a man that he can't, how do you say it nice? That word, procreate. Yeah. Really? You're going to tell an 18-year-old, a 30-year-old, you can't, no, don't tell a man that, okay? What? You know what I'm saying, okay? Because they like to do that for the church. And that's why you got all the human trafficking and all the little male boy, all the stuff going on there, okay? But here, he was married. In fact, when he got married, he had 2 sons, Nadab and Abihu, and he had 2 more, Eleazar, and I can't remember the other one right now. I can't remember. It's not Phineas. I can't remember. But anyway, he had Ithamar. Thank you. Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu. So you got Moses, Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu. Okay, so read it where you are.
Yeah. And he said unto Moses, Come up unto Yahweh, thou and Aaron,
So Moses and Aaron,
Nahab and Abihu,
Nadab and Abihu, which
the
are
70
Aaron's 2 sons. They're also Moses' nephews. Read on.
and the 70 elders of Israel.
And then the 70 elders of Israel, because they had elders that they put over the people, okay, that kind of helped to give instructions, help with leadership, okay? Read on.
And worship ye afar off.
Now, Yahweh Elohim is giving another law, okay? I want you to worship me afar off. Okay, read on.
And Moses alone shall come near Yahweh.
And then Moses alone is going to come near Yahweh. Read on.
But they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him.
So look, you guys need to stay down here. Only Moses can come up here. Okay, that's what he's saying. Read on.
And Moses came and told the people all the words of Yahweh.
Now, Moses comes and tells the people all the words of Yahweh. Read on.
And all the judgments.
And
all the people
judgments.
answered with one voice and said,
Here they go again.
All the
lying.
words which Yahweh had said,
All
we
the
will do.
words which Yahweh hath said will we do. And what?
And Moses wrote all the words of Yahweh, rose up early in the morning, built an altar under the hill, and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto Yahweh.
So they sacrifice unto Yahweh. Read on.
And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins,
So he takes half the blood and he puts it in basins, or kind of like this, like little kind of bowls, if you will. Read on.
and half the blood he sprinkled on the altar.
And then half the blood he sprinkles on the altar. Read on.
And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people, and they said, all that Yahweh has said we do, and be obedient. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant which Yahweh had made with you concerning all these words. Then went up Moses, Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and the 70 elders of Israel.
Okay, so they go up here. Now, what does Moses see? Now, this is the second trip. Now, notice the chart is Elohim, the archetype original pattern of the universe, also called the Moses chart. Now, what Moses is about to see is he's about to see the panoramic vision, or a panoramic vision, or panoramic just means all-encompassing. So Moses is there, okay? It's not like he's watching it on a TV screen, or he's, just kind of seeing clips. Moses is having an all-encompassing vision of Yahweh Elohim in 1490 BBY. Now, when he sees it, he sees this Yahshua here transfigure from this lower state into just, look, he took it off. Like Superman, and I don't know what it was like, you see what I'm saying? But I know that he went from this physical state into this Elohistic state right in front of Moses. And he's showing him that the Almighty is the original pattern of the universe. So Elohim ends up transforming from this body here, the super incorporeal anthropomorphic being, boom, into this intangible tabernacle. Then he transforms again, boom, back into that Elohistic figure. So Elohim, pattern Elohim. Then out of the side of this Elohistic figure, he starts transfiguring once again, or transforming into chaosis, into day 1, into day 2, into day 3. Now he's going back and forth, showing him, look, I'm the tabernacle. Look, it's me, I'm Elohim. Look, I'm going to show you, I go by the pattern for the first day, the second day, the third, and he's just going back and forth, back and forth. He does the same thing with David. David is shown by his own body. Yahweh Elohim takes his hand over David's body and shows him the temple. Yahweh does this technique to certain individuals. So here, when we go and we look at this chaosis, I want you to get it, because that's what we're doing. What does Yahweh want you to know? What does he want you to know? And then we act like we don't want to talk about it anymore, for I am not ashamed of the gospel of Yahweh Elohim. Get it out of the Elohim book, please. It's page, I believe, 59 or 60, volume 1. And let's just go through a little bit of what Moses saw in the mount. You see it? Yeah, keep going a little bit. Let's go to chaosis. No, you're right. Right here. Let's see this by the pattern, because this is what Yahweh Elohim is showing to Moses, okay? So what she has is chaosis.
It's Elohim on page 60.
Page 60.
It's plate number 5.
It's plate number 5, she's saying.
Illustrates the threefold ethereal darkness that covered the face of the deep surrounding the chaotic earth in the beginning of creation as seen by Moses.
So you just said a lot. So somebody coming into class, they might not know what any of that means, right? So what is chaosis? What is it? It's chaos. Just absolute chaos. It's dark. At this point in the vision, it's just darkness. So Yahweh is going to show how even the darkness is threefold, and how this darkness goes according to 1, 2, 3, the pattern. And he's going to show how it's ethereal, or of the heavens, or celestial. So it's not a physical darkness. It's kind of like this darkness back here that they felt. That they felt back here. What? It's okay. The chart just moved. Huh? Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, it's fine. I can get another one. Okay, KO.
Start over again.
Yep.
Illustrates the threefold ethereal
So
darkness
it's a threefold ethereal or heavenly darkness. Read on.
that cover the face of the deep.
And this covered the face of the deep.
Surrounding.
So the earth is not even here yet completely. This is a threefold ethereal darkness that covers the face of the deep. Because remember, the earth is not even taken out, like so that we can even identify it, until I'd say about the third day is when it starts, and then the fourth day when the land starts to, it's not even a concrete earth yet, is what I'm trying to say. So this is like heavenly. Okay, read on.
Surrounding the chaotic earth in the beginning of the creation as seen by Moses, as compared to the threefold pattern of the tabernacle.
So they're going to compare it to this threefold tabernacle pattern. Read on.
In plate 5A, representing the most holy place, accompanied by Yahweh Elohim on his throne, in which is hidden the deep secrets of the mystery of Yahweh pertaining to himself and his universal spirit law operating his creation.
Okay, so she's talking about chaosis, and she's talking about Yahweh, Elohim, and it's better back there. I'm going to go back there and read it. Now that you read it once, let's go through it slow so we can break it down, because somebody will get something maybe out of it. Maybe. Okay, read it again, Deb.
Okay, representing the most holy place.
So, representing the most holy place. So this plate correlates with this plate here. Read on.
Occupied by Yahweh Elohim.
So this is occupied by Yahweh Elohim, just like this most holy place is occupied by Yahweh Elohim. What do we mean by that? On this Ark of the Covenant, which Yahweh Elohim instructed them to build. He instructed Moses to build this. This was also in the temple, Solomon's temple, the same Ark of the Covenant. There was the same Ark of the Covenant in the temple. They pulled it up. 2 Chronicles 5:5, okay? And here, right above this mercy seat, you see this eye. And like I always say, it's not the Illuminati eye. The Illuminati is trying to be like Yahweh Elohim. This eye symbolizes the ever presence of Yahweh Elohim. He dwells on that Ark of the Covenant. Okay, read where you are. So you have the invisible presence of Yahweh.
Okay,
read on.
Occupied by Yahweh Elohim on his throne.
So this darkness is occupied by Yahweh Elohim on his throne. What is this? This is a mercy seat. A seat or a throne. Read on.
In which is hidden the deep secrets.
Now, in this chaosis is hidden the deep secrets of the mysteries of Yahweh pertaining to himself. Read on.
By his universal spirit law
Read
operating in his creation.
And making darkness his secret place. Now, here you've got invisible mysteries here. Okay? And here, in this Ark of the Covenant, you have the same thing. You have a rod that buds. Look, what if this here just budded? It's impossible in our world. But to Yahweh Elohim, that can happen like that. So you have a rod that buds. You have the Ark of the Covenant that sits here. You also have the golden pot of manna. It didn't mold. Okay? It didn't turn into worms like it did with the children of Israel. That is a great mystery. How do you have a golden pot of manna just sitting in there? Because Yahweh is life. And anything that's around him is going to be alive. Okay? Keep reading where you are.
Coming through the second veil.
Now, She's talking about coming through the second veil. But before we come through the second veil, this was darkness. So this is the highest darkness here, chaos, or this highest darkness. Here in the most holy place, it was always dark, except for one day, Tishri 10 or October 10, when the Shekinah would flash. Yahweh was dwelling in darkness, just like chaosis. It's going by the pattern. Now she's about to come from the most holy place into the holy place. Now the veil between the most holy place and the holy place is the carboniferous face of the deep. Carboniferous just means of or pertaining to carbon. It's dark. So that's the veil. And then here between the most holy place and the holy place, you have the second veil. So there's a veil here and there's a veil here. But read it.
Okay. Coming through the second veil into the holy place is expressed by a thick carboniferous blackness
Blackness.
that covereth the face of the deep.
It covers the face of the deep.
And
So not only is there an ethereal darkness, now you have a blackness or a darkness pertaining to blackness, okay? Carboniferous face of the deep. So darkness, ethereal darkness or heavenly darkness, and then you have carboniferous blackness, okay? Read on.
And reveals the wind or spirit of Elohim moving upon the face of the waters.
Now it reveals. Read that again.
And reveals the wind.
It reveals the wind.
Or spirit of Elohim.
Or the spirit of Elohim.
Moving upon the face of the waters.
Moving across the face of the waters. Now if you think about wind, just without looking at, the charts, just from your own memory. The wind, you don't know where it's going to or where it's coming from. The news might tell you, we have a strong east wind coming in. But when you're there, you don't really know where it's coming from. That is like that Holy Spirit or that Spirit of Yahweh moving across the face of the deep. Now, how does that correlate to the holy place? How? How does that correlate? Does anybody see how that correlates? If you take this golden candlestick, okay, the priest would pour the oil in the middle prong, and then the oil would rise all together. That oil is synonymous with spirit. So you have spirit or oil in type or wind, okay, here, but you also have the presence of oil here. Now here, what Yahshua showed me when I was researching this, because he is the comforter. He does teach. And I get tired of you got to read the Bible in order, that's the only way you get to know Yahshua. That's part of it. But you have to come to the understanding and knowledge that he works with all of us now. It's not just in the past. It's like you have to say, oh, Paul said. No, Yahshua told me. Yahshua told you. Okay? So this spirit here, this is what he told me. He said, Danielle, you see, I'm the spirit. I'm the bread, that same spirit. And he said, I'm the true intercessor. All of this is right here. When you're looking at this pattern, Danielle, when you're looking at this pattern, you are seeing me right here. Even though it hasn't manifested itself in the physical yet, it's all right here. It all comes from me. It all emanates from me. You get that? Read on.
Finally, coming through the first veil into the outer court.
Coming through the first veil, and you can see the words on the chart, dividing spirit and the waters. So this veil is dividing the spirit from the waters. Just like over here in the holy place, you have this first veil, which divides the holy place from the court round about. Read on.
Okay, finally coming through the first veil into the outer court is the ethereal darkness surrounding the face of the waters.
So you have an ethereal darkness which surrounds the face of the waters. Is that how he words it? How does Dr. Killing word it? Say it again.
Okay, is the ethereal darkness surrounding the
so
face.
the ethereal darkness
surrounding the
face
of the waters that cover the chaotic earth,
that covered the chaotic earth,
wherein Satan and his hosts were cast.
So this is where Satan and his host are cast.
In the beginning of the physical creation.
In the beginning of the physical creation. Now this earth, like we said, it's not fully formed yet. So you have this ethereal darkness here. You have this water. So remember, these people back here they had to atone for their sins with a sacrifice. And the sacrifice was not because they had understanding and light. They had committed some type of sin. They had broken some kind of law. So they had to bring a sacrifice to spare themselves. The sacrifice would die in place of them dying, right? So they were in darkness. So you've got darkness here, and you've got darkness here. You've got the earth, the inorganic earth covered with water here, and you've got the brazen laver filled with water here. Darkness, water. Darkness, water. And then here, this inorganic earth here, covered with water. You see this fire. And from the fire, you have steam here. Inorganic earth is what it says on the chart, and it says altar. So you drag this, just like a slide rule, over here. You have the brazen altar of sin offering. And there's a fire here, just like there's a fire here. There's 4 corners here, just like there's going to be 4 corners to this earth, north, south, east, west. You have a burning here, just like you have the steam here. You have lines of latitude here, just like you have lines of latitude. And they're not literal lines of latitude, it's a grading configuration. But the idea is the lines of longitude and the lines of latitude in the earth, they're invisible. But that's what we call them, you know, the scientists and whatnot. So here you have earth, you have water, and you have darkness. Just like here, you have earth, you have water, and you have darkness. I'm not saying anything different than what Moses saw when he saw this Elohistic figure transform into the tabernacle. But he's getting a detailed knowledge and understanding of how Yahweh Elohim is working this tabernacle. He's getting the greater and more perfect instructions, if you will. So he's watching Elohim transform into the tabernacle, back into Elohim, and then into chaosis. And that's what we just read. Okay? Go to the first day. Let's see what we can get through. So now we're on the first day. How does this first day go according to the pattern? What did Yahweh Elohim want us to know about this first day here? Read on.
The creation, first and second day. Plate number 5. No, it's a 6. It's a 6.
Okay, that's okay.
Illustrates the division between light and darkness on the first day of creation.
Between light and darkness. That is what he's going to be talking about. Because remember, it's all dark. And now he's about to make the light come forward. He's going to speak it, and it's going to be done. Okay, read on.
Okay, the light and darkness on the first day of the creation that Moses saw in the vision, as compared to the threefold pattern of the tabernacle in plate 1.
So, again, it goes by that threefold tabernacle. He's transforming into the tabernacle. Now he's transforming into the first day. Moses is writing and having it written by his scribes. Read on.
Beginning in the outer court, plate 6E.
So this time he's beginning in the outer court. Page 16, is that what you said?
No, plate 6E.
Oh, plate 6E. Okay, so plate 6, and then it's E. So he's going to be talking about this lower part here. Okay, read on.
With the darkness which Elohim called night.
So that same darkness, Elohim is going to divide it. He's going to call it night now. He's going to put a name on it, a definition on it. He's calling it night. Read on.
Covering the face of the deep.
It's covering the face of the deep. Read on.
And the inorganic earth surrounded by water is compared to the altar of sacrifice.
So now he's telling you it's compared to the altar of sin offering or sin sacrifice. Read on.
And the water in the laver plate 1E.
And the water in the laver plate 1E. So again, same thing. See how nothing really changes here? And I keep pointing to this one because they all look exactly the same because it's the same pattern. But you've got your inorganic earth, and then you've got it covered with water, and he's talking about the first night. Darkness, water, earth. Darkness, water, earth. Read on.
Passing upward through the first veil.
Passing upward through the first veil. What are the words that Dr. Kinley is writing on the chart? He puts division between evening and morning. And we know that at the division of evening and morning, there's always a beautiful blue, purple, and scarlet veil. That's the greater and more perfect tabernacle, showing you the same thing as right here. It's a blue, purple, and scarlet veil, correlating here to the first day. Read on.
A division between evening and morning.
It's a division between evening and morning. Read on.
We come to the holy place where Moses said.
Now, from there, we go back into the holy place where Moses said what?
That the spirit of Elohim moved upon the face of the waters.
So again, see how close? It's the same words. The spirit of Elohim is moving upon the face of the deep. I need Genesis 1 and 3 through 5. I'm not going any different than what Yahweh Elohim said because I don't like to. I don't like to draw outside the lines. I don't have anything else to say except for what Dr. Kinley said because he saw it. Read on.
Symbolizing a semi or evening light.
No, Genesis 1 and 3 through 5. That's okay. I threw you off.
It's Genesis 1 through 5.
1 and 3 through 5.
1 through 3, 5.
Mm-hmm, that's okay.
1, 3 through 5. Mm-hmm. And Elohim said, let there be light.
So he spoke it and it's done. So Elohim is showing Moses, let there be light. Read on.
And there was light.
And then it didn't happen. It was just a dud.
No, and there was light.
No, he spoke it and it happened. He knows everything. Everything he says happens. There is all power in him. He is Eloah. He is almighty. Read on.
And Elohim saw the light that it was good.
And he saw the light that it was good. Read on. Is there
and
anything
Elohim
else?
divided between the light and between the darkness.
Mm-hmm. So he divides between the light and the darkness. Read on.
And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night.
Right. Is there anything else? 1,
And the
3 through
evening
5.
and the morning were the first day.
Okay, perfect. So he's talking about this very first day that he's showing to Moses. So now we went from down here in the outer court or the court roundabout into the holy place where there's the evening light or the spirit of Elohim moves upon the face of the deep. Is there anything else there in the Elohim book?
As compared to the candlestick in the holy place of the pattern of the tabernacle.
Again, it doesn't deviate. If you know it here, you know it here, you know it here. He's comparing it to the candlestick. What do you say, Danielle? The oil goes in to the candlestick and it comes up. You know, it had to be trimmed. I believe it was at 3 o'clock, okay, and lit. This correlates to the spirit, okay? Goes according to the pattern. Yahweh Elohim transforms into the pattern. Now he's transforming in front of Moses and Dr. Kinley to this first day. Okay, read on. What you got?
Finally, passing through the second veil.
Now, passing through the second veil. What does Dr. Kinley write on the chart? Because that's what's important. Division between light and darkness. And what happens again? Light and darkness. When there's a division, I believe this time between morning and, or it's the other one. What is it? Help me. It's evening and morning, and then it's morning and daybreak? Evening and morning. Thank you. I couldn't think of it. There's another veil here. I don't understand how you can see this and not get it. He literally just put his whole pattern inside the creation. So again, between evening and morning, there's another one. It's another blue, purple, and scarlet veil all over the firmament, all over the sky, showing that there's another veil here, or a division between the most holy place and the holy place. Just like here, you have a division or a veil between the most holy place and the holy place. Okay, read what he has. Division between light and darkness.
Finally passing through the second veil, indicating a division between light and darkness, we come to the most holy place.
We come to the most holy place now. Read on.
A type of heaven.
It's a type of heaven.
Wherein is the throne of Yahweh.
Wherein is the throne. It doesn't deviate. Remember back here, here's the throne. Now he's just putting light on it. It's the same throne. Read on.
It was here that at the command of Elohim, the darkness was abolished by the cosmic light.
That quick. The
as compared to the most holy place.
Abolished. Look. The darkness is abolished. Look, look. Let there be light. It's that easy for him. But he lights up the whole sky, the whole firmament. Cosmic light. 2 Corinthians 4 and 6, please.
Second Corinthians 4 and 6. For Yahweh, who commanded the light to shine out of darkness.
So Yahweh commands the light to shine out of darkness, just like he did back here with the children of Israel. Because see, the Hebrews, they had light in their dwelling. The Egyptians had nothing. By the time this was over, the Egyptians had nothing. Nothing. They had no belief in a God. They had the dead Pharaoh. They had dead. All the firstborn children had died. Their agriculture was gone. Everything was devastated. Yahweh Elohim said, look, this is my people and this is my power. I am the light that shines out of darkness. And he literally had that manifestation happen when that cloud, which was a pillar of fire, a pillar. It wasn't like a round floating cloud. It was a pillar of fire by night, and during the day it was a cloud. So they had light in their dwelling. That is that same light, which is Yahshua the Messiah, who is the light. Yahshua is not even this light really. Like that's a piece of it. But I bet you when you go to heaven, this is dim. I bet you when you are in heaven, this is dim. This sun that we call, ooh, it lights up the whole sky. That's nothing compared to the brilliance of this Elohistic body. That is a type and a shadow of the light of Yahshua the Messiah, who illuminates the minds, the consciousness, and the psyche of man. You can't play with this thing when you really start understanding the details. But go ahead and read where you are, please.
This is still, you got to finish 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians 4 and 6. For Yahweh, who commanded the light to shine out of darkness, has shined in our hearts, to give the light of knowledge of the glory of Yahweh in the face of Yahshua the Messiah.
So there was something going on between Jeffrey Dahmer and his victim that survived. One of them was listening, and I understand, he said God. Yahweh still helps these raggedy people out, even though they don't know. I girded you, even though you didn't know me. When that man said he was talking, Yahweh was talking to him. And he heard it. And he survived salvation, because Yahweh is salvation. He survived because he listened to the commandments. Now, hopefully that man will learn Yahweh's name later on in life. Maybe he already has. Okay, so go back to the Elohim book.
Where Elohim, who is identified by light,
Right.
abode in the cloud above the mercy seat of the Ark of the Covenant, between the cherubims of glory, their wings overshadowing the mercy seat. a symbol of the throne and presence of Elohim thereupon.
So here you have this light that's shining out of the darkness, which correlates to the most holy place when the Shekinah would flash on Tishri 10. So here you have the whole pattern operating, and it points to Yahshua the Messiah. Because when you come over here, Dr. Kinley had this plate drawn up. It says death, burial. It says res, which stands for resurrection and ascension. And it's talking about the death, the burial, the resurrection, and ascension of Yahshua the Messiah. Now, Yahshua ends up, because everything is testifying to what's going to happen to Yahshua the Messiah. So he is put on the cross, and it is dark when he's put on the cross. And it's dark from 9 until 12, which it normally is not dark from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. That was it was a phenomenal day. So he's put on the cross, and it begins to go dim at 9. By noon, it is dark. From 12 to 3, it's dark, and then it begins to go light from 3 to 6. So you have 2 days and 2 nights in the one day. So you have a death back here with Yahshua, because these people put him on the cross just like he ordained. This was no surprise. Yahshua ordained it to be like this. He has 1, 2, 3, 4 points of blood, 1 in each hand. So 1 right hand, left hand, the head, because the thorns went into his head, and then 1 in the feet. 1, 2, 3, 4 points of blood. Just like he has back here on the brazen altar of sin sacrifice, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 points of blood. They whipped Yahshua, 40 lashes. So he has lines on his body. Just like here on the altar, or the brazen altar of sin sacrifice, there were lines or grade-like work in it. Everything was testifying to Yahshua the Messiah. And then here you had this burning that happened, or this roasting. Yahshua was roasted with words, and he was also roasted by that sun. They had him hanging out there on that cross. And if you take one, just one, if you look at this and you just take one line, it crosses just like the cross. You have a line and it crosses. You understand what I'm saying? Like this, right? So here you have him just laying on the altar. That's that sacrifice, that innocent sacrifice, or that innocent lamb that was back here that atoned for these people's sin. Now he's in the greater and more perfect tabernacle, and he's on this cross. He died for the world. He died for their sins. So here is that point, just like he said he would. So you have a death here. He's buried or covered after his death in Joseph's new tomb. So you have a death and you have a burial. Just like back here, you had this earth that was covered in water. And then Yahweh had it rolled away where the dry land appears. So after he's in this on Saturday, the angel comes and they move it or they roll it away, just like it was back here. It's testifying to him. So you have a death, you have a burial. He resurrects on the third day. Just like here, you have 1, 2, 3. And there is the resurrection of the vegetation. This seed, which was just seed, Yahweh has it resurrect or come forth and bud. So this Yahshua has to come forth and bud or resurrect, just as he said in 2 Corinthians or 1 Corinthians, I believe it's 15:1. In fact, just hold that for me. So you have a death, you have a burial, you have a resurrection, and then he ascends. And when he ascends, he goes back to the Father. And that's where you can't touch him here because he has to ascend. He hasn't ascended yet. But go ahead and get 1 Corinthians 15:1.
1 Corinthians 15:1. Moreover, brethren, I declare unto you the gospel which I preached unto you, which also ye have received, and wherein you stand, by which also you are saved, if you keep in memory what I have preached unto you, unless you have believed in vain. For I delivered you first of all that which I also received, how that Yahshua died for our
How
sins,
that Yahshua died for our sins.
according to
that
the
pattern.
scriptures,
According to the scriptures and also according to the pattern. Read on.
and that he was buried,
That he died and then he was buried. Read on.
and he rose again
And he rose again
the third day,
the
according to the
third day,
scriptures.
according to the scriptures, right? So then if you look at this pattern, what do you see? You see the brazen altar of sin sacrifice right here, because he's a sacrifice on the altar, right? You've got the water, you have the burial or the covering. That's like the brazen laver. Yahshua made this statement. He said, I am the bread of life. I am the light of the world. He also said, I am the intercessor. So you have this spirit going right according to his own tabernacle pattern that he had written. Now, then he takes off the veil of flesh, just like here. You see this veil between the most holy place and the holy place. Yahshua is going to take off the veil of flesh and ascend into heaven. He is the Father. He and the Father are one. So he takes off the veil of flesh and goes right back into heaven, showing his own pattern in absolute completion. I am the straight gate. I am the brazen altar of sin sacrifice. I am the priest. I am the washing or the baptism. I am the door. I am the bread of life. I am the light of the world. I am anointed. I am the intercessor. Takes off the veil of flesh and he goes back to where he came from, which is heaven. And he did all of that for you. And with that, I say hallelujah.
That concludes our lecture for this evening. I have some announcements to make. Brethren, see your emails for the important information and instructions regarding the seminars this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you have not had RSVP by email, please save yourself a wasted trip. All seats are booked. Saturday, the only parking is in the lot for the lot. It says Saturday. The only parking is in the lot for the buildings behind the classroom building. Behind the classroom. Okay, another reminder, pledges, we're at the beginning of this month, so pledges are due. We have classes here every Wednesday and Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. and every Sunday from 11 to 1. Our question and answer session is the third Friday of every month, which is November 18th. And if there's no other comments or questions, we can all stand and be dismissed. And I'll be reading the book of Jude, the last two verses. Now unto him that is able to keep you from falling and present you faultless before the presence of Yahweh with exceeding joy, to the only wise Yahweh, our Elohim, to Yahshua Messiah, our sovereign, belong glory, majesty, dominion, and power, both now and forever. Let us all say, hallelujah.
There was this mountain so high I could not climb. For every step that I would take forward, Satan put touched my soul oh so gently. It was Joshua when I cried out. He said, "Peace, be still, child, and let me lift you over." He said, "Peace, be still, child, let me make you my soldier for truth." It's such beauty, yeah, yeah. Wear it as your armor. He said, "Peace, be still, child, and let me lift you over and over and over and over." Troubles on my right side and loneliness to my left. I didn't think I belonged anywhere. I even cried when I slept. The burdens got so heavy, and I changed my name to despair. In the darkness came a light, and someone standing there, my Savior in His glory. I ran for comfort when He said, "Peace, be still, child, and let me lift you over." He said, "Peace, be still, child, let me make you my soldier for truth." It's such beauty, yeah, yeah. Wear it as your armor. He said, "Peace, be still, child, and let me lift you over and over and over and over." You should open, shut, and knock at your door. I did, and I know just what I'm pressing towards. I'm so glad I turned aside to see this great, great sight. All His sheep know His voice. From the beginning I had no choice. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. He said, "Peace, be still, child, and let me lift you over." He said, "Peace, be still, child, let me make you my soldier for truth." It's such beauty, yeah, yeah. Wear it as your armor. He said, "Peace, be still, child, and let me lift you over and over and over and over and over, yeah. Peace, be still, children. Peace, be still, children. Peace, be still, children. step that I would take forward, Satan put me 3 steps behind, and there was this river, so deep I thought I'd drown. Then a voice touched my soul oh so gently. It was Joshua when I cried out. He said, "Peace, be still, child, and let me lift you over." He said, "Peace, be still, child, let me make you my soldier for truth." It's such beauty, yeah, yeah. Wear it as your armor. He said, "Peace, be still, child, and let me lift you over and over and over and over." Troubles on my right side and loneliness to my left. I didn't think I belonged anywhere. I even cried when I slept. The burdens got so heavy, and I changed my name to despair. In the darkness came a light and someone standing there, my Savior in His glory. I ran for comfort when He said, "Peace, be still, child, and let me lift you over." He said, "Peace, be still, child, let me make you my soldier for truth." It's such beauty, yeah, yeah. Wear it as your armor. He said, "Peace, be still, child, and let me lift you over and over and over and over." You should open, shut and knock at your door. I did, and I know just what I'm pressing towards. I'm so glad I turned aside to see this great, great sight. All His sheep know His voice. From the beginning I had no choice. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. He said, "Peace, be still, child, and let me lift you over." He said, "Peace, be still, child, let me make you my soldier for truth." It's such beauty, yeah, yeah. Wear it as your armor. was this mountain so high I could not climb. For every step that I would take forward, Satan put me 3 steps behind. And there was this river, so deep I thought I'd drown. Then a voice touched my soul, oh so gently.